Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Trade Talks Live, where we like to come in, hang out for an hour at 10 a.m. Central, Monday through Fridays, and talk blue collar work and trades. For an hour, we'd like to cover a bunch of broad topics. We cover a little bit of national news that's all construction related, do some website breakdowns, things like that, go through tools, different trades across social medias, things like that. I'm Henry Wakefield, CEO of Leak Pro. We build the most precise leak detection equipment for professional plumbers. And if you want to check that out, you can visit our website at www.leak-pro.com or you can give me a call at 1-8888 Leak Pro. Roger is on the way in. He's headed this direction. He should be in the next few minutes. So if you're here to see him, he's on the way. I see Jacob Bowling already, telling him good morning. Jacob, good morning to you, sir. And I'll hold that off till he gets here. We do want to thank Leak Pro for sponsoring today's episode of the Trade Talks, where me and the old man get to come in here, hang out, and talk trades for an hour. Let's move into some national news today, guys. What I've got, contractor fined $1 million for misclassifying workers. Now, this is a big deal. It's something that's very important as contractors. I've kind of worked both different sectors of this and was probably getting 1099s when I shouldn't have for some time, but it was way back. But a worker misclassification is a pressing issue in the construction industry, leading to significant legal and financial repercussions for companies. For instance, back in December of 24, WorkWhile, a gig staffing company, agreed to $1 million settlement for misclassifying workers as independent contractors, depriving them of essential benefits and protections. And guys, this is a big deal. In the trades, lots of companies aren't sure, things like that. And today we want to talk a little bit on how to actually figure out if your workers are independent contractors or employees of your company. You really got to figure that out because employees, if it's an employee at your company, easy way to determine this is you control how, when, and with what tools that they work. That means you provide all the tools that they work with every day on a normal basis. You tell them when they start work, where they work, things like that. That means that is an actual employee for your company. If it's an independent contractor, they use their own tools. They work independently without you providing more people for them to work with, things like that. And they often serve multiple clients. These guys typically aren't just working for you. They are their own entity that's going out and getting work. And that's kind of the easiest breakdown that I could come up with to explain the difference between the two. A lot of the legal consequences that companies like this have had to deal with, they've had to go back and do back pay, unpaid overtime, things like this. Any benefits that they were owed for the time that they actually worked for a contractor as an independent contractor, but they should have been an employee. But also, the IRS and Department of Labor fines that accumulate with this are pretty big. So you want to make sure that you have your employees getting paid the proper ways. If that's W-2 employee that actually is for your company, or if it's a 1099 independent contractor. But you really want to set up some preventative measures in your hiring process and come up with some strategies for contractors to ensure that your worker classifications are what they're supposed to be, and that you're complying with the labor laws. Last month, Romero Remodeling Company in Pittsburgh was fined $144,000 for misclassifying 192 workers, highlighting the importance of adhering to classification laws. And guys, this is a big deal. They're going back, they're harping down on this more and more. and finding out all the tradespeople that are getting screwed over more or less by these companies. So don't be the wrong company that's screwing over the people in the trades. Give them the right benefits, pay them what they're supposed to be, and don't make them just be an independent contractor because you don't want to cover the extra benefits or deal with all the taxes and things that go with that. Insurance, things like this. Also, I'd say, if you are somebody that's doing wrong, you need to start doing the research to go back and figure out how to make things right. That way, you don't get fined by the IRS or anything like that to go back and pay these employees right, because that could end up being a devastating hit to your company, depending on how much capital you've got built up at the time. But kind of avoid some of these legal consequences because, guys, you don't want to be stuck in the wrong situation. That's for sure. I think I hear Roger headed in. Good morning. Good. How about yourself?
Well, just another amazing day in paradise. How's everybody doing today? Glad to be back. Man, I've been out at a conference, learning, working, doing fun stuff, and man, here we are.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Monday, it's good kickoff to the start of the week.
It is. Where you at right now?
I had just got done wrapping up with the national news, about to head into website review.
I love that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play with this here just a second. You can go ahead and talk about, I say you can. You can go ahead and talk about, no, you're good. Oh, shoot. Man, I messed that up. Okay, so we'll get there. How's everybody doing? Happy Monday. We have been going, I'm sure Randy's already told you, we have been going since last Friday, running 90 miles an hour, doing all kinds of different things, but it's all good. It is all good. Ooh. All right, go ahead, Squirt. Start talking about
that. So the website review today is the Construction Business Owner magazine. And a lot of the magazines are kind of going to digital online presences now. But Construction Business Owner is a premier resource offering insights on business management, operations, and industry trends tailored for construction professionals. I was getting on there kind of browsing some things this morning. There's a bunch of webinars, things like that on there. And you can learn a lot of the different things. A lot of the topics we actually talk about on this show, they do some deep dives into some webinars on them, things like that. And like some of the topics that we're talking about today, I'd found on there, actually.
And there you go. I know I'm trying to get right over there to it. Okay, so there you are.
So yeah, like up in here, up top, you've got the webinars, you've got different strategy, marketing, management, technology, equipment, and safety. And like I was in the technology earlier this morning, and you can find some different softwares and things that can help you out doing some of the different processes in your construction company, depending on what all you've got. There's all sorts of stuff here, AI, robots, different softwares to help you in your business.
Yeah, and it's neat. You got one here for marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So all kinds of good stuff. And look, what I love about websites like this, and you talked about AI, and guys, I remember being on a marketing cruise a few weeks back, and one of the big speakers, the guy, he's real smart. He's in the tech world. He's created some amazing stuff. And Lori's like, look, you don't always need to hire more employees. You need to hire more managers that can run AI.
Yep.
Because they can do more. And the better they can manage it, the better they can talk to it and communicate it, that's the more work they can do.
Mm-hmm.
Actually pretty neat. Anything else about this website that you just particularly loved?
The honest was the webinars. Going into the webinars, you can scroll down there kind of, we were talking a lot about there's the DeWalt Power Shift, the power of electrification and sustainability. We're talking about all these things that used to be gas powered, engine powered, going to electric now, all
Man.
just charged. And then you're out there, you've got no emissions, things like that. So it's pretty cool just to go through and see some different things, see some jobs that these things are actually coming out on and being used on because it's headed the right direction.
Yeah.
So,
And the cool thing about stuff like this, and what I love looking at stuff like this, is we talk about it all the time. Get up every morning for 30 minutes to an hour, study new tools, material, technique, and equipment. And you're going to be in the top 5% of your industry within the year because you're learning more stuff than most people are. They're not. And don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people look at these magazines once a month, once a week. But if you're looking at this every day and just jumping in to one of these webinars to learn something new about something new, it can change the way you do your business. It can change the way you look as a plumber, an electrician, anybody, whatever it is you're doing, as you can set yourself apart from everybody else.
Mhm.
And it really does work.
yeah, some of the content highlights exploring articles on financial management, leadership strategies, and technological advancements. And like we were showing you, there's a bunch of different options and categories to dive into. Figure out the one that you need help with the most and start there and kind of do your research. Start learning that portion. How can it help you the most in your business? And start putting some of those tools to use and actually using them to help you in your business.
You know, I love you. I love you put it that way because how many people were in that conference this week? 120?
100, yeah, like 120.
Okay, not that. Everybody's taking notes. Everybody's learning the things that everybody's like, oh my gosh, this is great. Oh my gosh, this is great. Oh my gosh, this is great. But most people, they're going to get back to their office, which this thing ends Wednesday. They may get back to their office Thursday or Friday. They may spend a couple of nights in Dallas. But here's the thing. When you learn so much stuff like that, a lot of people just, they walk in, they don't know where to start. So they don't start. And my thought is when you're on a website like that, jump through it, run through it, pick some things to study or learn, and then go back and look at them and say, which one of these things can help me increase my bottom line today? Because if you'll look at that and say, how can I make more money by doing one of these things? Is there one of these that could help me make more money? Well, this one here says, make more money starting today. Yes. Okay. So yes, I can make more money. And after you do that, pick which one you'd like to watch next or learn next. But take that one and implement it. Make your business better, make it make more money, and then move on to the next one.
Yep.
Implement, get things going. All right, now we're going to talk about business growth, scaling from one truck to a crew. And this is good because, look, when you start a business, you don't plan on being Chuck in a truck forever.
No,
I mean, you don't.
no.
Because then you
Starting out, you that's what you got to do. But the goal is to get you out of that truck.
You know, I love it when Michael Gerber talks about, you know, the entrepreneur that just, it's him in a truck. And they're like, yep, I'm a business owner. No, you built yourself a job. And I want you to think about this and why this is so important because, man, as soon as I saw this, I grinned. If you just stay at one truck, you don't get to take vacations. And we were talking to George the plumber. And he's like, man, I finally hired somebody. He says, this is the first time I've been at a conference and I'm making money. Guys, when you scale, when you grow, it's wonderful. But transitioning from a solo entrepreneur to managing a team, significant milestone for trade professionals requiring strategic planning and execution. Strategic planning is the big part. Execution, I've already told you, you got to do implementation. But guys, you don't just hire 10 people and buy 10 trucks. I mean, I wish it was that easy.
Yeah.
You have to have a plan and learn to put it in your budget where your budget tells you when it's time to do this. Well, we have enough money in the bank to buy a van now. Or we have enough money in the bank to get one wrapped, loaded. I remember one of my mentors, Robert Malco out of Chicago, literally said when he hires a plumber, it costs him $100,000 to buy stock and complete the van.
Yeah. Believe that.
$100,000.
Yeah. All the tools you've got to have to do like the materials you need to stock it with on the original setup. Yes, I bet.
All right. So part of your strategic plan is assessing the readiness, evaluating your workload, financial stability, and the market demand. Just because you're busy this week doesn't mean I need a new plumber and I need a new truck and I need to spend $100,000. It means, wow, the phone's ringing pretty good. Let's see how this looks next week, or can we slide some of this to next week? Hiring strategies, identifying, recruiting, and retaining skilled workers, aligning with your company values. And I want to tell you, I have hired plumbers because I knew they were good. And as soon as they come in and talk, you know, it's like, man, our company values aren't there, but you're like, look, man, we can make this work. This plumber's good. He's going to do sales. This is going to be magic. Man, if they do not align with your company values, don't even think about it, because I promise you, you will regret it later. And then operational adjustments, implementing systems for scheduling, communication, and quality control. You're going to have to change. And I remember when I sold my company to the bigger HVAC company, we're literally in a meeting, and it's a management meeting. And it's like, are the people in this room that helped us get to where we're at? We were at 10 million. We were wanting to grow. It's like, there may be managers in this room that are good managers to get up to 10 million, but they're not going to get you to 20.
Yep.
They're not going to get you to 40. So you've got to look at your operational adjustments and see, what changes do we need to make? And man, we had brought in some really good upper management people that helped make things happen. Real world example, an HVAC technician expanded from a single truck to a 5-person team within 2 years by leveraging local networking. Guys, get out and network. By managing local networking and offering apprenticeship programs, resulting in a 200% revenue increase.
200%.
That's 4X, not 2X. 2X is 100%, just in case you were wondering.
It's big, guys.
Man, I love it.
Like,
I really do.
that's
And we all want to grow. But I will tell you this, and this is something that one of the very first people, well, the guy who got me into plumbing, Grant, who's in here, he said, look, you can make good money when you're a 1-truck company.
Yep.
When you're just 2, 3, and 4 trucks, it's hard to make money. But once you get up to 5 or more, it's pretty good. So yeah, I love it that he went from a single truck to a 5-person team. Now, I don't know if that means he had people in the office or what, but again, you got to keep those ratios where they're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
All right, service work. Best practice for service van organization. I'm going to go take a break on this one because, man, I sucked at that.
Yes, he did.
How do you
I
know?
cleaned his vans many times for a few different companies he started. Not the last one, luckily.
Yeah.
Luckily.
I got better as I went.
I was busy working during all that.
Yeah, you had something to do.
I was enjoying my pipe fitting world.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I kind of threw this one up, because if you are a service worker out there, you've got to have your van organized for what you do. And that's the key to all this. The major tools that you carry in, you need to have right there by the door, ready to go. Just that little toolbox that, this is the first thing I always walk in with. And me, I'm thinking plumbing, because that's kind of what I was up and around in. But there's always that little bag that's got your channel locks, your crescent, multi-use screwdriver, things like that. Just your basics to go in and put on a lot of things. You want that really close and easy to get to. Stuff you barely ever use, but you have to have it in that van. Put it in the back, buried under everything pretty much. Now, yeah, it's going to suck when you go to get it. But if you're only pulling that tool out once or twice a year, it's going to be okay. You don't want it up in the front, because then you're having to go past it every single job all the time, get further in, things like that. So think of your organization that way. Got me thrown off there. You plan your layout, designing storage solutions to prioritize most frequently used tools and materials. Okay. if you use half-inch 90s all the time, you want those back there by the door. Really easy, quick to get to, things like that. Whatever your main materials used, you want those close, easy to access.
Or you may want them in a Milwaukee pack house.
I was
That
going to
way,
say,
man, you
or
got
you
them
can
right
do some
there, baby.
modular storage,
Yes.
things like that.
We say
Or-
modular a lot on here.
We do say modular a lot. It seems like everything's going to modular somehow. We're going to have modular cameras soon. Careful.
Uh-oh. Interesting.
Modular studios.
There
Hey. Ooh.
Uh-huh.
Inventory management. This is one of the biggest ones because if you run out of inventory, do you know? Or is it, hey, go grab that? Oh, we're out. Oh, I got to go to the supply house.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to restock. Dang it. I should have restocked last week. I forgot we did that one job. Have a running list or automation, scan it, different things. You want to know what inventory you actually have in your van.
No, you do.
Like-
But here's the thing too. Number one, you set your initial inventory. You set your par. You know how many you're supposed to have of everything. It's called a par list. But here's the thing, and this is something I always try to get my team to do, and man, we could never get it done right. But it's if you went on a job and you did a garbage disposal swap out, you repiped a water line, you changed out the valve on the water heater, or you built the valve box in the front yard, whatever you did, you made a material list and you ordered it right before you left that job.
I like that.
Because it's got the job name on it. Then it's like, this is exactly who this job was bought for. You track it. You make sure that it gets attached to the invoice in the back end, not where the customer sees it, but now you've got it in there. So now when you go back and review that job, you look it up and say, gee, we charge $400. We've got $200 in material. We got 2 hours labor. Wow, we lost money on that job. And then you talk to the plumber. Well, why did it take you 2 hours to do that? And you start looking at it, and you've got to be able to break that stuff down. But for materials, that is the best way to do it. You order it immediately. Once you stock that truck, it should be perfectly stocked every morning you roll out. Because the reason I like them placing their orders immediately, the supply house could go ahead and start pulling them. And if that last one came in at 4 or 5 o'clock, they've only got one little job to pull.
Yep.
They were literally calling me at 7 a.m. saying, hey, we're here. Is there anybody to receive the box? Absolutely. That is magic. And then safety considerations, securing equipment to prevent movement during your transit minimizes the injury risk. If you don't have that wall between the back of your head and the back of your van, you should. I mean, that is there for you. And it'll literally keep you from breaking your neck or something.
I think one of my biggest tips for van organization, have a dedicated spot for trash.
Yeah.
Like I used to try to keep half of a water heater box in there somewhere just to throw trash into, because when you're in there doing all these change out, swap outs, all these things, you're going to end up with all this scrap, all this trash, all this extra debris and stuff. Have a dedicated spot where all that kind of goes in your van. That'll keep it cleaner.
I don't know. I never tried that. I mean, I tried a 5-gallon bucket, but when it got full, it started going everywhere.
He didn't worry about the box.
I know. I should have. All right. Materials, equipment, and tools. Now, I love that we're talking about, since we're talking about the van, but battery-powered job site tools, are they worth the switch?
Man, and like, this is something we learn about a lot here recently, even more. Guys, they're making so many heavy tools battery operated. Is it worth it? You know, going from an engine to a battery,
A motor.
It's, yeah. Yes, by
No,
far.
it's a
there's
no-brainer.
so many things now. They're making batteries and power tools that way more powerful than the old corded tools used to be.
And yeah, I mean, think about that, because we've had this conversation with Milwaukee, and they're literally like, guys, look, our battery operated tools are more powerful than the corded tools. And you know, that used to be my only thing. It's like, you know, man, this battery it does this, it does this. Man, we ain't got that problem anymore. And I mean, I used to have a bunch of yellow tools, and the batteries, it's just that they didn't
Wasn't
perform
enough.
as well as you
Mhm.
thought. Yeah, yeah. So nothing bad about them, but
A
they
long time
didn't.
ago too.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yep.
So performance comparisons, evaluating power output, runtime, stability for various tasks. And we saw a deal just the other day, a Milwaukee pipe cutter.
Yes.
And I don't mean a pipe cutter. I mean, you put it in, it cuts it. Steel pipe, up to 1 inch, 200 cuts on one battery. I mean, imagine how long on a power vise it'd take you to do 200 1 inch cuts.
Yeah. Like,
I know.
and my thought is, you take that tool,
Mm-hmm.
put it with Mega Press. How quick can you run steel
God.
pipe then?
Yeah. Yeah.
Man,
I love
quick,
that.
guys. Like,
Considering the initial, no, you're right. That's why I said reading this. Considering the initial investment, maintenance, and long-term value. Here's the thing. Imagine what it does to make you more efficient with your labor.
right.
We're talking about 200 cuts, and we're just talking what the tool can do. But I mean, you don't have the wear and tear on the guys using cutters. You don't have the wear and tear on, think about what you said. You cut that pipe, you mega press it, jackpot.
That's it. That's it. Because that's going to leave a less of a burr. Things like this with this motorized action. Yes, you're still going to have to ream it some. Yes, of course. But it's going to go a little bit quicker than what that bandsaw cut leaves because it's a lot rougher. It's not a smooth cut action. So it's saving labor there too. I can remember the first job that we ever used Mega Press. They had bid it as screw pipe and welded pipe, and we banked a couple thousand hours on that job because it was a lot of gas pipe on the roof. Stay in touch with all these new advancements because it can save you a lot of labor. And battery's the way to go. You don't have to stretch cords out, guys. You plug your chargers in over at the Spider Box outlet, wherever. You don't have any cords ran everywhere. Unless you want to lock them up in your box and have all your chargers lined up, then yeah, you've got one cord to plug in.
And we've done that before.
That's right.
Environmental impact, assessing the sustainability of battery disposal and energy consumption. Look, I know it still takes energy to charge the batteries, but not near as much as it does to crank that motor. So it is good stuff. Okay. Talk about Leak Pro, our amazing sponsor for today.
We'd like to thank Leak Pro for sponsoring today's episode of the Trade Talks Live, where we get to come in here and hang out Monday through Fridays, 11 a.m. for the East Coast. And then all the way across the country, you can catch the replays during your lunch. But at Leak Pro, we build the most precise leak detection equipment system for professional plumbers.
Equipment, system, the whole nine.
All
yards.
of the above. Like, yeah, the key, get the complete kit, guys. It comes with both pieces of equipment. I've got the probe, which is for your outdoor use. It's got a stainless steel rod. It's real durable, T-handle style. And then I've got the sidekick for when you go inside or you're listening through a slab. It's that pistol grip style. It's got an aluminum rod on there. So it kind of screams a little bit more, and it eliminates that layer of concrete when you're listening through it. But the complete kit also comes with remote controlled outlet for one-man operation on leak detection and a universal adapter to be able to hook up to the plumbing systems so that you can use your compressor to pinpoint that leak. If you don't know a lot about leak detection, I also offer a 2-day in-person training here just outside of Dallas, Texas. I teach you how to locate lines. I've got 11 leaks under a slab. We'll go through, teach you exactly how to pinpoint, locate those. I've got one outside of the slab so that you know what that sounds like also. But beyond that, I've got a couple of sewer systems set up. One cast iron, one PVC. And this is so that we can go through and teach you how to isolate branch lines to determine exactly which branch line's leaking under a home, all from the double clean out outside, guys. If you want to find out any more about this, you can visit www.leak-pro.com or give me a call at 1-8888-LEAK-PRO. I'd be happy to discuss either one with you.
Guys, this can completely change you as a plumber, change the direction of your company. as an entrepreneur. If you can take on a service like this that adds revenue to your bottom line and in multiple ways, not just what you charge for doing leak detection, but the repair jobs that you get because you're the one that can get it and find it. When you come through the training, you don't just walk out with the kit. You walk out with the knowledge, the kit, and the confidence that, look, I have found these leaks. I know what I'm doing. And it does. It makes all the difference in the world. I'll jump in here real quick. Mr. Jacob Bowling, how are you? Says, I hope you're doing well. I'm sick with the stomach virus, so I could be better, but wanted to stop by and say hi. Good to see you in here. Brandon Garber, Brandon Gaber, how are you? We're doing good. And then Nicholas Walton says, keep calm, Plum, and Woodford Reserve own. I've been doing some of that Woodford Reserve and stuff past few days here at a conference, so really it's just margaritas, but gosh. Yeah, I think my check liver light came on last night. It started blinking.
Better check it.
I know. I know. MEP, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing retrofit versus new construction. And my very first plumbing job, I'm going to call it a retrofit. It was a remodel.
Mhm.
And we took an existing bank building, added onto the floors, stretched them out, added some restrooms, did all kinds of stuff. But it was a bank building in downtown Dallas, or just outside of downtown. But it was so cool because I got to see old plumbing, new plumbing, and tie it in and hook it up and do this. And there was some line that we did retrofit. We changed some things. So it was pretty cool. But MEP professionals often face the choice between working on retrofit projects or new construction, each presenting unique challenges and opportunities. And young people ask me a lot, Roger, when I get into plumbing, is it better to get in new construction or service or what? I love starting in new construction.
Yes.
Because you see what's under the floor, you see what's in the walls, you see what's done right and what's done wrong. I love doing each level of it. To be honest, I think you should start in new construction with fixtures. You learn how to set the fixtures because then when the water lines are not in the right spot, when they're up against the side of a cabinet, you learn to think about things and why it is so important to be dead accurate when you're topping it out. So after you learn to set fixtures, then I think you learn to top out because now you understand how to be precise. And the good thing about the top out is now you learn why it's important to have those lines on the wall. Or when you miss the wall, how much work it is to jackhammer up the floor and move stuff around.
I was gonna say I learned it backwards, and that's what I got to learn first was going from that rough end to the top out and seeing how important it was to hit the walls, how accurate you had to be when it was just dirt. It's just an open lot. There's some wood around the edges. Oh, those are the forms. That's the exterior of the pad. That's what you're going to measure from to know exactly where your pipe has to be.
And getting good at that is important. It really is. All right, so let's get back in here to the scope of work, differences in project planning, design constraints, and system integration. It's not just a new construction job. You know, the retrofit, you've got to see what's there. You've got to figure out what's there. And sometimes, I mean, imagine this. You're going to tie onto the edge of a bank building and run it out about 50 or 100 more feet on 6 floors, I believe. Well, you don't know where all those lines are. You know what's on the blueprints. You know what's on the as-built, the record drawings. It ain't always like that. So there's challenges there. And there's technical challenges, addressing outdated systems and retrofits versus implementing cutting-edge solution in new builds, new construction.
Yeah.
Risk management, navigating unforeseen issues with existing structures compared to the predictability of new construction. New construction is so much easier because you know what you got.
That's it. It's a blank canvas. You've got the drawings that have been designed. It was planned for. You know, you've got the room. Retrofits, you've got to figure out if you have the room to do everything. If not, you got to make the room somehow, and you got to figure out how to make that happen. I liked retrofits more, but I like to problem solve a little bit more too. I like to get stuck in that weird situation. It's like, holy crap, this isn't going to work. How can I make it work though? Because this is what the customer needs. How are we going to make it happen? So I kind of liked that approach, but I do miss my new construction installs too, because I did mechanical rooms, and I love going into an empty space and building a full mechanical room.
No, and it's neat because, and when you work with a great pipe fitter, welder, somebody that
Yep.
knows what they're doing. I remember doing a job out in DeMoss 6, and we're redoing a mechanical room for Bob.
Yep.
And man, I walk in, it's a blank room, and I've got my drawings out, and I'm looking at everything. I'm doing my takeoffs, making sure I got my end done right. And Burgess walks in. He's looking at me. He says, "You need a hand over here?" I said, "No, I'm doing good. Got it." He said, "Okay." He said, he's looking at the prints. He's looking around the room and all this. And he says, "That right there is not going to work." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, the way they've got that coming off and going up and going through there, and then that line there, that's not going to work." It's like, what makes you say that? And it took him a while to explain to me. I'm like, oh my gosh. I said, "Man, I want to be able to look at prints like this the way you do." And he said, "Roger, you can when it's plumbing." He said, "I've seen you look at prints and you're like, oh, we can't do that. That's got to change. We got to move this. We got to do this." And I'm like, okay.
You're looking at my world now.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
I'm in your
Yes.
world now. I'm learning whole new stuff. Okay, so where's the work? Solar and EV infrastructure.
Solar and EV infrastructure, it's huge, guys. It's the future. It's where we're headed. More and more EV vehicles keep coming out. I see more Teslas every day on the roads.
You wonder if Elon's making any money?
I know he is.
It's a good problem to have, Elon.
But the good part is, hey, the more money he makes, the more work us tradespeople have to go out there and do.
Amen.
Okay. And this is where it's headed, guys. The infrastructure cannot keep up with everything that's coming out. It is getting outdated, and we are having to add to it, go back and fix things and upgrade things on a daily basis. That's where the work's at, guys. If you have anything to do with any EV, things like that, you're an electrician, jump on the bandwagon because it's coming. You know, they're feeding bigger lines, bigger grids, bigger systems everywhere to upkeep with where we're headed in this future.
And look, with the federal and state incentives, it's like the government's helping you pay for it. And I mean, that is amazing because including Inflation Reduction Act, or fueling job creation and clean energy trades. As if you're an electrician, clean energy, anything that you can do, solar, wind, any of that is going to help you expand. Installations are expanding beyond homes and commercial buildings, warehouses, and municipal facilities. We started looking at it for Brant whenever we built that 15 years ago, whenever it was. Electricians installing EV chargers, battery storage systems, and wiring for solar arrays. Roofers partnering with solar companies are learning solar mounting systems themselves. GAF has a deal that we saw at IBS. It's like, look, the roofer just installs this. Here's where the wire goes. They put it up and boom.
Solar shingles.
Yeah, we saw those too. California, Texas, and Florida lead the solar adoption. We are like, come on, baby. With emerging markets in the Midwest and Northwest.
Northeast.
Northeast. Sorry about that. Tesla certified roofers are now offering integrated solar shingle installations, bundling roof replacement and solar into one contract.
Yeah.
Because if you are an electrical company and you're thinking about solar, you might think about opening a roofing company. If you're a roofing company, you might think about providing solar. It makes so much sense.
And here's why. In Arizona, a local electrical contractor tripled his revenue in 2023 after adding EV charging installation services for homeowners and dealerships.
Man, I love the dealership thing. And you know what? Me too. I'd be out at a gas station saying, hey, you got fuel.
Why don't you add an EV charger?
You want to add a couple of EV chargers here?
Because then while they're sitting there charging, guess what? They're going to come in your convenience store because it's convenient.
I wonder if that's why they call it a convenience store.
I don't know. Maybe.
It's interesting. All right, instructor training. I love this.
This is big. This is big. How to mentor in the field without losing time.
So here's the deal. teaching apprentices while maintaining your productivity. Because think about it, if you're the journeyman, say you work on a commission, you don't want the jobs to take twice as long because you're having to train an apprentice.
Right.
That's a whooping.
Big whooping. Big whooping. You really want to teach apprentices while keeping that productivity going. Start with some simple tasks, easy things they can do. One of my favorites, though, is like feedback at the end of the day. Well, it's something that my journeyman used to do to me a lot. After we would get done, hey, what'd you learn today?
Yeah.
Just a simple question. And, you'd have to pick through your brain. And it's like, man, what was the thing that I majorly learned today? And do it, just that quick little feedback makes them think of what they actually learned. And it's a good way because they'd kind of turn me loose on a lot of things. They'd keep an eye, make sure I was doing the right things like that. Give me some pointers when needed, but they weren't just like there watching, just waiting for me and like just kick back, relaxed. So micro mentoring, using small windows of time between tasks to explain techniques or correct any mistakes that they did make. And that's kind of how a lot of the journeymen treated me, by micro training. And it's huge and it goes a long way. Gives that apprentice the confidence that they know what they're doing also. And apprentices, don't mind the feedback that you screwed up. It's okay. Figure out how you screwed up so that you won't do the same thing again.
And it's neat because whenever I would teach apprentices how to lay out, how to do certain things, if I walk by and watch them and realize, okay, they did something wrong, I'd let them keep doing it. Because
for a little bit.
Yeah. And then I'd come back and say, okay, let's go back and check this. And then I'd watch them and I go through this step, go through this step, go through this step. And then you see that look on their face where they're like, it's like, did you miss something here? It's like, yeah, I think I did. So it's a good thing we double checked.
Yep.
Just to put it in their head. But what this does, this is going to improve the relationship. It's going to improve the retention of the apprentices. And it's going to improve their safety because you're working with them, watching them learn and grow. But I love it because it's the relationship. I still love the plumbers that taught me the things that I do. And I mean, I'm still call and talk to them and say, man, how you doing? What's going on?
I like how you say that. The plumbers, shadow rotations. Don't keep that apprentice with that same journeyman their whole apprenticeship while they're learning, because then they're going to turn out just like that journeyman. May not be a bad thing, I understand, but something I taught all my apprentices, you want to learn from multiple people so that you have all these different ways that you learned, so that when you become that journeyman, you get to pick your way to teach all the apprentices that you're going to teach. So keep all your apprentices learning from others.
The feedback's the biggest part. Just do. And look, here's the thing. If you're an apprentice, carry a notebook. And if you learn something new today and you're like, man, I don't want to forget this, take a minute and write it down. And if your plumber's like, look, you ain't got time for all that, look, go to the Porta Johnny. Hey, man, I just learned something right here. I don't want to forget. Because the thing you don't want to do is come back tomorrow and ask them, hey, will you show me that again? It's like, man, I showed you yesterday. You should remember that. You want to be open-minded, be willing to learn, be coachable, but make sure you do what you have to do to learn it. Says a Denver-based HVAC company requires journeymen to spend 15 minutes at the end of each day reviewing what their apprentices learned. A simple step that doubled the test pass rates at the end of the year.
Yep.
If you can make your guys become plumbers faster, and if you'll explain it to them, look, the reason I teach you this way, the reason I ask you what you learn, the reason I ask you to document it is I'm trying to make you not just a better plumber, but a better plumber faster.
That's it. And like a lot of apprentices stress on the test. Oh, I got this test. Oh,
yeah, if you do everything I tell you to do, you ain't got to worry about that test.
Dude, I've been working with you for years, and I'm always asking you what you're learning and fixing you and clarifying any of the rules along the way. You should be able to go in there and just ace that test pretty much without studying at this point, but please still study. But it gives them a better confidence, I think, walking into that test.
And it's neat because we didn't have anything to study with back when I did it. I didn't. It was, you could go to a library and rent a book, but it didn't say, here's how to pass the plumbing test. But the cool thing about it is Grover Speak
Okay.
used to literally ask questions. It'd be like, what is the process that draws the heat into the fitting? And that's probably where I learned to mix up my questions with you, because
That
you know,
capillary
they would
action.
normally say, what is capillary action? And it's like, well, what is the process? And God, Randy used to hate studying for tests with me. He hated it. I mean,
Hey, because I knew school. Here's the question. Here's the answer. Guess what? They're going to ask you that question. They're going to ask you what colors are on the flag.
red, white, and blue.
What would your question be for me, though?
What two primary colors are on the flag?
I'm not sure. What are you talking about? That's not the question, Dad. Okay,
I don't care.
That is not the question.
What are the two primary? Dad, they're not going to ask it that way. Okay. But I guarantee when he walked in the next day and the question said, what color? He already knew red, white, and blue.
Yeah,
There's no way
I
to
don't
think
care
around
what
it.
they asked me about it. I had it. I had it.
But that's the way I studied too.
I know, and that's what taught me as I got in and I started running some heating water and stuff. It's like, man, I don't know a whole lot about this system. I'm gonna go learn. I'm gonna figure out what I'm installing every day. Because that first heating water loop, it was like, well, wait, like what all equipment feeds this to make it heating water? What's the difference? Let me do some research and figure that out. And that goes a long way. Speaking of heating.
Speaking of heating, let's get into specialty. Radiant floor heating. Now we don't have a lot of that here.
Not
in
here,
Texas, but
not
there is
here.
some.
We do
Over
see it
in
in
University
places
Park.
we go. Yes, there's some in
There is
University
in
Park,
University
I'm sure.
Park. Yes, there is.
On porches, probably.
But yeah, it made the driveway
Yes.
just so it doesn't freeze.
But, is it making a comeback? And it is, I think, just from some of the installations I've seen, plumbers and stuff we've talked to around the country.
And we've got a video for it
we've
on,
got some-
on the Roger Wakefield Plumbing
Yeah.
Education channel.
Did Albany, New
Yep,
York?
The
They were-
Renai
Renai.
Combi unit. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was feeding into all this. This is a trip, because I'm from Texas, okay? I haven't walked on many heated floors until I go up north, and then it's like, oh,
Kinda
I
nice.
get it.
Yeah,
And
you
like-
weren't walking on them. Then he was literally getting naked and laying down on the floor. So, like Randy quit. We're in a customer's house. Okay, it wasn't that bad.
But if you turn this into your specialty, coming back and doing radiant floors, there's options. There's water style. There's also electric. Hydronic versus electric. Hydronic systems use water. Electric mats are easier to install, but cost more to operate. Okay, and that's something we're seeing. We're trying to do more things with water, and I love it for
Yeah.
heating, for cooling, for everything. We're trying to make water more of a thing. Even this using water as a torch,
I'm
not
ready to
using
see that.
fuels.
I still
know.
never looked that up. Oh, Randy's got it right here. Yeah, but I want to look it up.
I
wanna
understand,
get one.
but
I
like-
want to get one.
What a trip. We're trying to use water for so many things. And I love that. But you can pick if you want to be a hydronic floor installer or electrical, depending on your customers in your area, I would think also. Some install methods, best for new builds or major remodels, especially bathrooms and basements.
And we saw this in Albany, and they had like the whole house.
The whole house, the garage. My favorite was the garage because it's
It
like,
had
man,
been converted.
whenever
Right, 'cause
you're,
man, they did that beautiful ceiling.
yeah, whenever you're even in the garage, even if it was just a normal garage, you work on your vehicles. It gets cold on that concrete
Man.
floor. Like I did construction on my life, standing on cold concrete on high rises and stuff during the winters. You notice that in your feet.
yeah.
I promise.
No matter
quick.
how good your boots are.
No matter how good your boots are, no matter what socks you're wearing.
Well,
well,
you got battery socks.
I was going to say, unless
I
you
was
throw
gonna say, wait a
heated
minute.
into there, and then
See?
it's different.
And for an upselling opportunity, guys, this is great. If you're in an area that could possibly want the radiant floors or anything like that, and it's a new build, if you're a general contractor and you're not saying, hey, look, would y'all like heated floors in the bathroom? I guarantee here in Texas, they'd be like, wait, what?
It keeps getting
Yeah.
colder down here more and more.
I
Guess what?
know.
In a decade, this may just become the norm down here before long because
Going home.
I would love to have a heated bathroom floor, though. Think stepping out of that shower with that cold
I'm-
tile.
I'm kind of like Ron White. I think we need to buy Mexico and flip it. Matter of fact, let's buy Mexico and move down there. We'll flip the United States.
Hey, there you go.
Ideas. Trump, let's talk. Social media spotlight. The electrical guy.
The electrical guy. It's a rapidly growing electrical creator known for in-depth tutorials, product testing, and relatable job site experiences.
Go ahead.
Oh, you should
I'm
have done
top-
the at.
I'm typing one-handed.
Yeah, and not very
Well, I
well.
can't
You
see
should just
that.
let me type.
I'm done.
His content bridges the gap between beginners and experienced electricians looking to brush up on best practices or tech updates. He's been doing it a few years now. He's got like 185 videos, 248. I was looking at a different one, I think.
Okay.
Oh, we
I'm
look
gonna
here.
remove
we've got a
that.
bunch
I
of-
got to share a whole new one. Oh, we did. Get to this here first. Oh,
Good.
Man, I'm learning.
We'll
you can
pull
keep
it up.
talking
I
about
was going
it.
to say some of the recent highlights, like what electricians get wrong about GFCI
Output
breakers.
power of engines
Yeah,
or
there's a specific
motors.
way this has
Watts
to
and
go.
kilowatts
There we
are
go.
also
We
units
actually got
of
the
power
stuff,
commonly
up
used
now.
in the electrical and mechanical worlds. Let's start with converting HP to
cool
watts.
stuff
To
here,
go
too.
from HP to watt,
Very clear. I
remember
love
that
the
1
animation over here
horsepower
where it shows
equals
it really-
746
really
watts.
clear.
For
Like full
instance,
layout
if you have a
design
2 HP
kinda
motor
of
and you want to
pictures
know
of
the
how
power
things
in
are,
watts,
but
then just
that's just
multiply
me.
2 HP by 746. That gives you
Let's see what-
1492 watts. Similarly, if you have 5
Well,
HP
I know.
motor,
I
then
just
just
can't
multiply
see what's
5
on.
HP
Oh,
by
okay, yeah.
746,
That's all I
and
mean.
by
I
that
don't
you
know.
will
I
get
got you.
3730
Electricians aren't
watt
smart anyway.
answer.
They look
So
at
now
that.
we
I
know
was gonna
that's
say,
how to
in
convert
electrical,
horsepower to
it
watt.
is a lot different.
Now
Like,
let's learn how to
I
convert
remember my
horsepower
first
into
time trying to
kilowatt.
follow
See if you want
an
to convert
electrical
horsepower into
schematic versus everything else. And I read PNIDs, guys. It can get confusing until you learn the right way to read it. And then looking through some of these designs, knowing exactly how things are wiring. I'm not big on electrical. I don't like getting shocked that much. I know it's weird. I was a pipe fitter because
I don't even like
the welders would
electricians.
love shocking me just for fun occasionally.
I don't even like electricians.
Uh,
I'm joking, y'all.
I know you don't like them. You love them. I know.
And I do. Look, guys, it takes every one of us to do what we do.
It does.
I don't know if y'all know that or not.
But he loves to use electricity, I assure you. Okay. So we know how important electricians are.
Mhm.
Tool reviews, kind of which impact driver wins in 2024. Wiring sub panel, step-by-step guide for apprentices.
I like that.
I was going to say, like, I'm kind of curious about that just to know everything. I know it all comes in the top for most panels I've always seen. And I kind of watch electricians on the job to get an idea.
And I got to tell you, go ahead.
But some of them put it in like artwork.
That's what I was fixing to say. There are some electricians that you're just like, you're watching them. It's like, dude, that's beautiful.
I've done some data centers. You want to talk about serious electricians. They're in there with benders bending wire to make sure that their panel is perfect. And when they're done, it is beautiful.
It ain't no joke. It's like the plumbers that do that where all the lines are exactly spaced apart and sideways, up and down, everything. It's,
I miss my TI chemical
I'm
racks.
sure you do. I'm sure you do.
Because it was that way, guys. Everything would fan and follow each other. It's a beautiful place of piping.
Fan and follow. That's what Randy's living his dream. Enters Vasquez says, what's the topic for today? We covered all of them. Back when you're still potty training, agree, more adhesion to code and intern learned. There you go. Personally, my first 10 to 12 years were new construction. Since then in service, much more comfortable problem solving. That's what it's all about. Get them proficient in what to do. Then comes the why. Mm-hmm. And Nick's got some good stuff in here. All the plumbers I worked under, not one manufacturer made a shovel that would fit their hands. I understand that. Then I worked for one that wouldn't ask you to do something that he wasn't going to do himself.
Me.
You know, and I mean, like we went out to Uncle Grant's, install the whole house water filter system, and it's like, when'd you have the dig crew come out? He said, I dug it yesterday. It's like, wait, what? He's 61 years old. Dug a 5 foot deep hole, 24 inches in diameter, they're about. So yeah, pretty neat. Some are better at mechanical inclination than test taking. I'm horrible at test taking, and a bunch of, yeah, wire nuts. So, look, electricians have a place somewhere.
Yep.
It's just not on a job site because they get it dirty. No, I look.
Hey, I've
love
got a spot for an
I love
electrician
giving
right
them.
now
I
because
love giving them.
I can't figure out this one fixture. So, I know that they have their place in this planet.
Yeah, that's true. We just still hadn't figured out where. Just in that room for
Just
a
in
little
that
bit.
room for some reason.
Just in that room for just a little bit. Okay, so Randy, you've been a video cameraman the past few days,
I have.
but it was at a Rainmaker event,
Mhm.
Power Team International. Anybody wants to know about it, talk to me because I think it's helped me grow my business. But you've learned a lot of business growth stuff the last 2 or 3 days.
Yep.
What are your biggest takeaways that could help a plumber, an electrician, an HVAC tech, anything like that? Let's start there.
One of my favorite things business wise that Bill taught was consistently.
Mhm.
When you're kind of asked a question, how good of a service do y'all provide? Well, we consistently provide a great service for our customers.
Mhm.
Consistently sinks in, and it just, I don't know, it triggers the brain to go, wait, wow, that's a really good answer. I'd like to hear more about this.
Mm-hmm.
Get it to where they're asking those questions, because if they're asking you for more, you're making them hungry for more, which is
Absolutely.
a great thing. That's probably one of my favorites.
Okay,
that-
now, how would you tie that to Leak Pro? Because I want to ask you a question. I want to hear how you answer it. How does Leak Pro work?
consistently.
Very well. Very well.
Consistently.
Very
very
yeah,
well.
yeah. You can use that.
Consistently very well.
Where consistently would fit in with there would be like a.
Most people that use my equipment consistently locate all of their leaks.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, but and look, when you're a plumber, when you're an electrician, when you're a HVAC tech, and you're like, hey, we'd like to find out more. Customer asks you, we'd like to find out more about that whole house GFCI. How does it work? Works great.
Yeah.
There's nothing else.
Yeah.
That's it. It
Yeah.
works great. Normally they're like, wow, okay. They don't, they think that they're asking you that they want to know all the details,
Just-
but they really don't.
yeah.
They just want to hear you say, look, this works.
They want that reassurance. The reassurance there to keep it going. Oh.
Mr. Matt McDonough in the house says, Mr. Miyagi of Plumbing and Square. What's up, brothers? Have you got an alarm set for 6 o'clock tomorrow morning?
I do not. Or
'Cause
yeah, I do.
'cause you gotta
that's-
check in
that's
for a
what
flight.
Time my alarm goes
You got to
off.
check in for a flight. Yeah, we will be in Vegas Wednesday mid morning.
7 a.m. we landing,
We
baby.
will reach out and talk. Randy, I love that. I love that you go to conferences like this and learn. And I love that even though you're there videographying,
Still listening. to
you're
learning.
videographying, you're still listening. And every now and then, I'm walking back because I'd walk around and check on him and Alex and the cameras and all. And every now and then I go back there to Randy and he's looking at the stage and he's like, and I'm like, you learn anything? He's like, oh yeah. So it is. It's really good.
I want to say I had one other favorite.
Okay, let me hear it. But while he's
Go
pulling
ahead.
that up,
Yes.
yeah, I'm going to talk about Leak Pro. Leak Pro is the most precise leak detection system for professional plumbers. If you really want to grow your business or grow you as a plumber, go to www.leak-pro.com. Check it out. This is a great way to not just help you grow, but help you take better care of your customers. It's going to increase your revenue, but it's also going to help you provide better service for them. If you want to learn how to use the best leak detection system that there is, give Randy a call and come out and check it out. Our training center is phenomenal. To find out more about it, go to www.leak-pro.com. And to find out about the training, give Randy a call at 1-8888-LEAK-PRO. Go ahead.
So a really good analogy that I saw was focus. Okay. Follow one course until successful.
Y'all
I
write that down.
loved that. It was such a good one. I'm going to end up printing that out and put it on a couple walls for myself so that I can keep some focus.
I love that. Nicholas Walker talked about nitrogen. Not sure what nitrogen. Did we talk about nitrogen or gas? Maybe.
Maybe I was talking about some chemical lines like
Yeah,
nitrogen was
probably,
one of them.
probably,
Sure.
Yeah.
Gas and liquid.
Liquid. Yeah. Happy Monday. Do I need to come out and help you with your fixture? Not that I'm aware of. And then Lori McNeil says, love that, Randy. Always be a sponge. And yes, follow one course until successful.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. I hope that y'all had a good day today. So glad that you're here. I will see y'all here again tomorrow with Randy. And then Wednesday, we'll see you live, probably from the Las Vegas airport.
It will be live from the Vegas airport.
Thank y'all for being here, guys. Whatever you do out there today, remember, be safe.
Everybody, happy Monday. Hope to see you back in here tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central Time, so that we can have fun talking trades. Get out there and hit it effing hard. Bye, guys.
See y'all.